Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the hole in the wall. Hurry up and get on in here because we got another myriad of stories to talk about. Big one is we got new Avatar spoilers this week. Lead on popular commander cards might being unbanned. We're going to talk about a new TCG coming to market with changes already. And we got more things too, so let's get into the first topic. Goblin, let's see. Let's talk about Avatar. What you got?
So I have prepared a smattering of avatar cards here for us to look at. It's just like about 8 cards. There have been so many revealed over the past few days that I just wanted to make sure that we didn't spend the entire episode just talking about spoilers. But so first card we have today is My Scornful Striker. She's 1 and a black for a 2/2 legendary human noble ally. She's got first strike, and whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, they lose 2 life. This is a interesting anti-combo card. I feel like this puts in work against decks that want to cast a ton of cheap spells or free spells in a lot of different formats, but the fact that the effect is symmetrical kind of keeps it from being too overbearing. Nimi, how do you feel about Mai?
Bro, I love Mai. she she's great. She's great. This card is awesome. I love one of the decks I really loved to play was Valgavoth, the group slug that came out last year. Super fun deck, and this just fits perfectly right in there. And a lot of times with that deck, you don't play on your turn anyway, and you just set up and let your opponents burn themselves whenever they do anything. So you just sit this on the board with your myriad of pingers and just say goodbye.
Yeah.
take take 10 life for just playing your turn out. We'll get bigger and draw cards for it. I think this card's sick. I love this.
Yeah, I want to say that this is a good card against decks like Is It that want to cast a ton of non-creature spells, but the fact that it's on a 2/2 means it's pretty easily killed. I do think it's a lot better in a commander deck where sure there might be more players to have removal, but spending removal on a 2 drop has to be pretty intentional in that format.
Well, you also have to think like this is just like a funky way of saying ward, pay 2 life.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're
Because if
doing a
you're
straight up removal spell, yeah.
Yeah, because if your opponent wants to do anything to remove it, to interact in any way, unless they're using a creature, like yeah, they're going to take 2 for it. So I think it's got a funky inherent protection with it, and I think it's cool.
Next up, we have Iroh the Grand Lotus. He's 3 and Teamer for a legendary human noble ally. Excuse me. He's a 5/5, and he has Firebending 2. So during your turn, each non-lesson instant and sorcery in your graveyard has flashback. The flashback cost is equal to that card's mana cost, and during your turn, each lesson card in your graveyard has flashback of 1. This thing is nuts, and if I get my hands on one, it's going right into my Calamax deck. It comes out the turn after, and then you really
Oh my
start
god.
you really start copying some instants and sorceries then, brother.
Yeah, this card is absolutely nuts, and it's very fitting for Iroh too, because he was the mentor to his nephew Zuko, and having it make the lessons only cost 1 or is super cool. Very thematic, very powerful effect. The firebending is just the icing on top of it too. I think this is going to see a lot of play. This is definitely one of the big boys from the set. It's only a rare, so I mean, it's base copies shouldn't be too expensive.
Yeah, I thought this was a mythic when I looked at it the first time, but no, this is just a rare. Huh.
Pretty good, pretty good.
You were speaking of big boys of the set. This is a card that's had a lot of discussion around it lately. It is Wan Shi Tong Librarian. It's X blue blue for a legendary bird spirit. This one is a mythic, and it's a 1/1. Flash flying vigilance. crazy keywords. And when it enters, you put X11 counters on it, and then draw half of X cards rounded down. So it's kind of like a flashing Hydroid Crisis just right there. And then whenever an opponent searches their library, put a +1/+1 counter on Wan Shi Tong and draw a card. This is going to punish you for fetching with fetch lands. This punishes rampant growth. If you're able to force your opponent to search their library for something, like with a Path to Exile or Path of Exile. No, that's a video game.
Path 2.
Path to Exile, yeah. You will get a 1/1 counter if they go get that land, and you'll draw. I love this card. I think it's going to be strong in every format it's legal in.
Yeah, I see this being stupid busted. And I mean, if you think about it, in order to at least get the draw and win play, you got to pay 4 for it, which I mean, 4 for a 3/3 isn't too bad, I guess. Not 100% on rate, but just the effect you get is just wild, especially with the flash too, because oh, I'm just going to play this on your turn and then while you're searching, and haha, look at me.
You can do it that way. You can wait till your opponent's in step and make a really big bird if it's late in the game. You can cast this for blue blue. And like
Yeah.
you said, just punish your opponent for searching their library.
Yeah, we have a lot of green players in our pod, so I see this being a really good silver bullet to all those players.
Oh yeah. Love this card. Next up is a card that I understand is somewhat of a meme from the show. This is
Secret
there we
Tunnel.
go.
Secret Tunnel.
This is a land. It's also a cave. Those are coming back around from Ixalan. Can't be blocked, which is interesting. And you tap it to add a colorless, or you can pay 4 and tap it. 2 target creatures you control that share a creature type can't be blocked this turn. So this is kind of like tailor made for a earthbending strategy where it's by itself the can't be blocked doesn't mean much, but once you animate it and put 1/1 counters on it, this thing can really get in for some damage. And if you're not using that strategy, you still might be able to make use of the tap 4 effect.
Double Rogues Passage. Seems good.
Yeah,
And yeah, I feel like a lot of land-based decks are really going to love this card. Like you said, the earthbending is the big mechanic now, but even stuff from the past with like landfall decks, there's a lot of ways to animate lands that turn them into creatures. So I see this being really good.
definitely. I didn't even think about it if you're playing like a typal deck being double Rogue's Passage. Like, that's nutty.
Yeah, it's got a lot of utility, especially if you just any type of tribal. Like I'll just make my 2 biggest guys in or 1 big guy into my commander unblockable. Sure, why not?
Yeah, yeah, I think this goes in every tribal deck that can afford the deck slot. This is great. Next up is a card I haven't seen discussed as much. This is Avatar Destiny. It's 2 green green for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature you control, and that creature will get +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard, and is a avatar in addition to its other types. When enchanted creature dies, mill cards equal to its power. Return this card to its owner's hand, and up to 1 creature card milled this way to the battlefield under your control. We haven't seen like recurrent buff enchantments like this since like Rancor, I feel like, way back in the day. And I don't know if this one kind of lives up to that legendary power level of something like Rancor, for its time.
Yeah, I see Jund having a field day with this card.
Oh yeah.
Just the constant milling of yourself, and God forbid someone has dredge in their deck. Like I see, like I have a core in the Undertaker deck, and I think this deck would be super good with it.
Oh
Just
yeah.
throwing it on, just throwing it on core and make him even bigger than what's in the graveyards already. Yeah, this card's cool.
Yeah, and then if they kill Corum, they're gonna get punished because you're gonna get a new creature and this, and then you'll just recast Corum.
Yep.
That's pretty
Seems
cool.
sick. Seems sick.
Next up, we have Aang, Swift Savior. It's a legendary creature, human avatar ally. He's a 2/3 flash flying. And then when Aang enters, airbend up to one other target creature or spell. So you can hit something on the stack with this. And you can waterbend 8 to transform Aang into Aang and La Ocean's Fury. He is a Avatar Spirit ally. He loses the human creature type. He'll get Reach and Trample on the backside, and then whenever Aang and Law attack, put a 1/1 counter on each tapped creature you control. I really like the front side of this card. I think the backside is kind of like a weird win con in a control deck, and kind of just feels like gravy. Because with the flying on the front half of Aang, I feel like you could chip in for damage anyway. But Aang in Law is a really like incremental way to try and push a board forward, which is really, it feels kind of strange in blue white to have that reach trample keyword pairing.
Yeah. Like, where's the green? I think we're missing green on
Yeah,
this card.
yeah.
But it makes sense because this is thematic because the Water Nation, the Water Tribe, with that part of the story. And I think, I mean, it's a Waterbend 8 too. So, I mean, you're getting, because Waterbend adds +1/+1s and stuff, right?
I think waterbending is like Convoke, right? Where you have to tap creatures, and then that's why on the backside you get the 1/1 counter for each tapped creature you control.
Maybe. Shows how much I've looked
You
into
know,
this
I
set.
will
I need
continue on
reminder
your
text.
thoughts, and I will find the reminder text for waterbending.
There we go. So I think it's a really cool mana sink, and yeah, if it is what you were saying, where it taps creatures to convoke, it just helps the strategy even more, especially if you can have something like vigilance on your creatures. So I think just playing it as a blue-white strategy would be good. Just make you a bunch of guys to convoke them, and then they have vigilance, swing out and tap them to transform, and then get even bigger.
So the reminder text on waterbending is while paying a waterbend cost, you can tap your artifacts and creatures to help. Each one pays for one. So it's artifact and creature convoke.
Seems cool.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of artifacts tap for mana anyway, but a lot don't. You can tap your treasure tokens. Blue pretty famously doesn't have a lot of ways to cheat on mana cost, so this is kind of a interesting way to do that if you have a big wide board of artifacts.
Yeah, I could see this. I could see this seeing some type of play.
Next up, this one's a little bit blurry, but we have the Legend of Yang Chen. It's 3 white. This is a saga. And starting with you, each player chooses up to one perm with mana value 3 or greater among perms you control, and you exile them.
Just you. So every anything on the board, as
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
long as it's not yours.
right. And then you may have target opponent draw 3. If you do, draw 3. And then exile this saga, return it to the battlefield transformed under your control is chapter 3. On the backside, he's a 4/5 with flying, and whenever you cast your second spell each turn, airbend up to one target non-land. And airbending is exile it. While it's exiled, its owner may cast it for 2 colorless rather than its mana cost. So this is a
This card's
pretty,
cool.
yeah, this is a pretty classic white saga. You're gonna get some removal, but it goes around the table. You kind of make a deal with an opponent, let them draw 3, you draw 3. I think this card is perfect for Commander.
Yeah, and it, it gives everybody a quick lesson on threat assessment.
Yeah, I mean, a 4/5 flyer isn't the biggest bomb in the world, but the recurrent airbending with the removal potential, and even if you wanted to blink your own stuff, Yeah, Yang Chen, it could definitely be a problem on some boards.
Yeah, and it's the each turn clause, I think, is what's really helping it too. Like if you're able to just pop off on your opponent's turns, counterspell or start a stack up, just get rid of their stuff for a little bit, force them to pay more to get their stuff back.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of blue and blue white with flash already, so this kind of slots perfectly into those kind of strategies. Next up is Zuko Conflicted. He's Rakdos for a 2/3 human rogue. At the beginning of your first main phase, choose one that hasn't been chosen and you lose 2 life. You can draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Zuko, add red, or exile Zuko, then return him to the battlefield under an opponent's control. Is this another Valgavoth auto include?
I don't know about auto include, but I think I like the flavor on them. Like, well, especially just exiling him, so you're not giving the opponent the +1/+1 counter if you do that option. Yeah, I mean, I don't see this being too bad.
Yeah, so to me, this card is kind of like a mini Zancha, right? Where you cast it basically the next turn around, because you're going to have to cast this after the beginning of your first main phase, right? So the next time it comes around to you, you're going to lose 2 life and draw a card, or add a red. Those are things that maybe 2 life is a little bit pricey, but those are effects that you wouldn't mind paying 2 life for, right? Ramp 1 or draw a card. The 1/1 counter isn't really that great. But what you really want to do, I feel like, with this is exile him and give him to an opponent. Preferably somebody that's in a color where they can't immediately sack him off. And then you want to be playing a strategy where you benefit from whenever opponents lose life. So there's a lot of good stuff in Rakdos you can do with that. I don't think this is a build around. I think this is a card for the 99, and maybe there's a strategy in a 60 card format that employs this, but I kind of just liked the effect spread on this. I thought this was a unique design and kind of embodied how you said he's like Sasuke. I think this is a very Sasuke card, like going to different opponents throughout the game.
Yeah, and it's thematic too. I mean, just having him switch sides, it works for his character arc. So yeah, not bad, not bad.
All right, and those are 8 cards from Avatar. But next, you wanted to highlight this post from Ben Bateman that you sent to me. What's going on with the Commander bundle?
Yeah, so essentially just the free commander spells that were released forever ago that are super expensive. You get a chance for one random one and one random tutor, which the tutors are also really good too. So you have Fierce Guardianship, Deflecting Swat, Deadly Rollick, Flawless Maneuver. So Obscuring Haze, can't forget Obscuring Haze.
You could
but
forget Obscuring Haze.
but I think that's just such a crazy amount of value for the commander bundle.
Do we have an MSRP on the Commander bundle yet?
I'm pretty sure there is one. I know it's on TCG Player for way more than it should be, but let's do a little Google search real quick.
Avatar Commander bundles at 205 is where they are on TCG Player at time of recording.
Walmart.com has it for 189.
Oh, $20 off. We are not sponsored, but there you go.
Pretty cool, pretty cool.
So, I think this is so cool. This is a really good way to get reprints out to people outside of Secret Lair, and the arts on these are really good. We've said it 3 or 4 times on this show. I've never seen Avatar. I love this deflecting SWAT.
Yeah, and I wanted deflecting SWAT, so maybe now it'll be cheaper.
Deadly Rollick, Flawless Maneuver, I like this Obscuring Haze. It's a lot more clear than the original Obscuring Haze art. You can't even really tell that it's the box commander in the art. This Fierce Guardianship is really good too. And the tutors, I think all of these have really good art. And this Enlightened tutor goes crazy.
And they're all very playable in the commander format. Even
It,
Gamble. I mean,
when is the last time Gamble was printed? Oh my goodness.
yeah, like the red card.
Yeah, the red tutor. That sometimes works a little, maybe. This would go perfect in your Green Goblin list.
Yeah, maybe now I got to buy 2 bundles and pray on my luck.
Nah, you're gonna open one, you're gonna get Deflecting Swat and Gamble, and you'll be fine.
Oh man.
You get both the red ones. As always, the past few years in Magic, Izzet wins again. Best two arts here, and their arts on the tutors aren't bad either.
And I like the bordering around these ones too. They're very, I wouldn't say thematic, but they're just very unique.
Yeah, it each of the colors has a unique pattern. Like white has clouds, black has these kind of waves, red is fire, blue is more of an abstract kind of wave pattern. There's really fine detail in these. If only this close attention to detail was paid to today's next topic.
Oh, what could it be?
The Avatar bonus sheet spoilers are here, and what the fuck is this man doing here?
I that is the $1 million question. Like a dockside extortionist, a banned card in Commander being reprinted. What?
So, a lot of people, and when I say a lot of people, I mean MTG Finance, has started speculating that Dockside is going to be unbanned in Commander. And I'm leaning towards no, it will not be. The two main reasons I think this are one, Dockside is legal in other formats. Like, Commander isn't the only format people play. And two, if I'm not mistaken, Dockside and Jeweled Lotus, that ban wave was the last thing that the original rules committee did. So whether or not they knew Dockside was slated for a reprint, or and when I say they, I mean Wizards, whether or not Wizards knew that Dockside was going to be reprinted or not, they didn't have any control over the ban list at the time.
Right, and you have to think these sets are planned years in advance, so they already knew they were reprinting Dockside, and it just so happened that last year they got banned from Commander. So yeah, so I see it to where it's just kind of unfortunate where they were probably like, ah, yes, people want this card, and oopsie, not
Yeah.
anymore.
And for better or worse, that kind of quirk has been ironed out. I wouldn't expect too much like this in the future.
And I don't know about you, Goblin, but do you see a Goblin on the Dockside Extortionist
I don't,
art?
and that's another problem I have with this card. Why is he a goblin pirate? Is it the parrot? Is the parrot the dockside extortionist? And the man.
No, if I remember correctly, that pair didn't do anything in the show.
It's not an Iago situation, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Well, furthermore, outside of dockside, the we talked a little bit about these quote unquote source material cards before, and the couple that they showed us looked okay. And as people are paying closer and closer attention to the arts of these as they're kind of getting out into the world, a lot of these are blurry or don't make a lot of sense within the context of Magic. Like, this Training Grounds is fine, like, as a Magic card, but the image is kind of blurry. You can almost see like the CRT waves in the ocean here. I'm sure this isn't going to show up in our YouTube video, but just looking at the card here, you can almost see the blurriness of an old 2000s CRT in the water on the background. And the lack of framing and text boxes is also throwing people off. So, before we move on, how do you feel about the bonus sheet just looking at the cards?
I think they could have done a lot better. And their their prior bonus sheet cards have proven that. And I get what they were trying to do with that, and or at least with this one. And we talked about it too when the Avatar was first getting revealed, that each of these corns coincides with an episode from the series. Essentially, the entire bonus sheet one card will show each episode of the series, at least the way I understand it.
Yeah, that's
So
correct.
so they want it to be a collector's thing where, oh, you got to get every episode of the series, you got to get every episode, you got to get every card. Which, I mean, that's fine at all, but if you're not going to have any quality to it, it's just ugly at the end of the day. And like I mentioned before, like the Spider-Man bonus sheet was beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
they used that source material with the comic books, and it just fit. But the with a show like this, like they couldn't get it, they couldn't remaster it, they couldn't hire an artist to just touch it up. Like it just seems very odd that they literally just screen grabbed from a 480p monitor and use that on their artwork.
Yeah. For a product, and these are, well, I'm going to say Commander, or not Commander, I'm going to say these are collector cards only, because the population, from what I understand, is like one in every box of play, right? So these are basically in collector boxes only. And for a card that's in a premium product like that, I would like a premium amount of effort put into it. Like, I don't think that's a huge ask. Like, here we have Zuko redeemed as Reese the Redeemed. Does Zuko strike you as a green white character? I mean, I haven't seen the show, so I'm gonna ask.
I mean, white at the end once he's redeemed, sure, but he's a firebender, and
Yeah,
fire's red.
yeah,
so
yeah.
so
It
and he's not
seems,
an elf.
yeah, he's definitely not an elf. He's definitely not making more elves. And on top of that, this is exactly what I mean when I say low effort. You took a character with a redemption arc, looked for a magic card with redeemed in the name, and slapped them together in the most Fortnite skin way that I have seen in cardboard. Like, even, like, we clowned, like, old school Magic players, we clowned on the SpongeBob Secret Lair. Like, the idea of it. And then when it was actually announced, we were like, okay, we've officially jumped the shark. And then the cards started getting in people's hands, and people started looking at them and said, oh, this isn't a screen grab. Somebody did a painting of this scene from SpongeBob SquarePants. And I think they gained a lot of respect that way by going high effort with the SpongeBob stuff. And I'm not seeing that level of effort here in the bonus sheet.
Yeah, it just comes down to them. I would say just cutting costs at the end of the day. And I mean, that's cool and all, but like you mentioned before, don't do it with your premium product. Like,
Yeah.
like people are going to spend the money on this. They want to collect the cards. Don't skimp on the collector cards.
You know, my father worked in a factory for 30 plus years, right? And he always used to say, you get out of something what you put in. And I think the longer I'm alive, the more true that statement becomes. Because the rest of the set is very clearly thought out, cared for, drawn well, the mechanics seem strong, it's thematic within the context of Magic. That half of the set has it smacks of Final Fantasy in quality levels. Maybe not up to that par, but it's heading down that road. And then this bonus sheet smacks like the worst half of Spider-Man. And the Spider-Man, it makes the Spider-Man bonus sheet look better by comparison.
Odd.
Yeah, it's a really weird place. Like, I think that you could have avoided your online negative sentiment entirely with this set had you just not made a bonus sheet. I don't think there would be a bad word to say about Avatar Online. But now you've kind of opened the door for this, as you said, like hunt and find, like collect every episode little mini game in the set.
One final thing that we'll mention, like how messed up everything is. They literally did hire an artist to recreate the exact same scene from the bonus sheet that they were trying to print.
So the main set card is energy bending, and then what is the bonus sheet card?
It's one of those negate
Oh, it's force of
cards,
negation.
force of negation. So, like one of the chase cards from it, they literally had an artist redo it, and the artist did a million times better than what this shows. So all they had to do was hire an artist to just redraw the art for the bonus sheet.
You could have used the screen grabs as a reference and just, yeah. Man, $600 for a box though.
Better than 1,200, I guess.
I reckon. So, speaking of markets getting out of control, there is a new TCG on the market. Actually came out on Halloween. This is Riot Games Riftbound. This is a new card game based on the League of Legends characters, and this game is already having patches to the core rules in week one. This is less like the rulebook was incomplete and more like clarifying things that were very common questions that were answered. There's basic things here like can't beats can and do as much as you can. Uniquely in this game, what I've found that these rules have clarified is you, for certain effects, you pay as much of the cost as possible. So, like, if there's a card that says discard 2, draw 2, if you don't have any cards in your hand, you just get to draw 2 cards. So, kind of a unique situation there. But the main thing I wanted to talk about is if a game is already receiving erratas to cards, which is another topic, and patch notes, you would think the game would kind of be in trouble, right? You know, if the rules are already being changed week one, cards are already being errated, you think that might, I don't know, rub customers the wrong way.
Now,
However,
oh, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this any type of competitive scene? Like, is there?
yeah, there was a Worlds that happened in China release week, and there's a 10K in Vegas coming up. Um, yeah, so this is a competitive card game trying to capture some of the market of people leaving Magic the Gathering's like competitive formats. So you would think that a game like this that's trying to position itself as a competitive game that already is having rules changes might be flopping. No, you can see here that a case of Riftbound is currently $1,400. This is only 6 boxes.
Yikes!
Yeah, there are cards like this signature Ari that are already selling for around 1,300. You can see here how fast this market went up. 64.99, and the market price is $231 for a box. So prices have gone absolutely insane. Even products that traditionally competitive minded players don't buy, like these starter deck sets, 139.99. I think the MSRP for this is like $40.
Yo.
So this game on release, I was kind of watching the market a little bit on Halloween and the day after. Market was pretty chill, prices pretty stable. And as soon as that Worlds event ended on Saturday, everything started going crazy. And from what I understand, there is going to be 3 waves of set 1, but you and I have both experienced a card game in its first year with Star Wars Unlimited. Wave 1 of set 1 came out in March, and I don't think the second wave really hit and like corrected stock, where you could actually go to a store and buy a set 1 box until December of that year.
Yeah, it
So
was super late, and by that point, the meta was shifted so much that it didn't even matter.
set 3 was about to come out. So honestly, I feel like if you're looking into getting into Riftbound and you haven't yet, maybe wait for set 2. Or at least wait until, I want to say, second week of December. At that point, all of the big cash events for the year will have wrapped up. And a game in its first year, especially one that positions itself competitively, a lot of time it will draw competitive players from other games who want to play for a year or even an event, make money, and get out of the game, right? So I think mid-December you'll probably see these prices start to come down if you want to buy set 1, but maybe it's worth it to save up and try and dump some money into set 2.
Yeah, and this is coming from Goblin, who has experienced quite a few competitive card games in their infancy. So I would definitely take his word for it. Yeah, just be careful with spending your money. Don't get caught in the FOMO. Like, especially if people play Magic, they know what that is. So
Oh yeah.
it's very easy to get caught up in the hype. So just be careful with your spending.
Yeah. I played a game a couple years ago called Battle Spirit Saga, and you knew when a competitive event had ended because you could just watch hundreds of copies of super rares and SPRs just fly onto eBay and TCG Player because people were just participating in the game to try and win prize money. I think hopefully the League of Legends brand and the gameplay itself, although admittedly I haven't got my hands on the actual game yet, hopefully that will carry it for longer than Battle Spirits, but I think time will tell.
Yeah, and I'm not a League of Legends player by any sense of the word. Like I know nothing of the IP. So, but it's a big game. So I could see it catching on pretty quickly. And I know the show that happened not too long ago was immensely popular too. So I mean, people are sucker for IPs, and this is definitely one where the characters carry their weight. So I could see this. I could see this making its own niche.
Yeah, I love trying new card games, whether I'm into the IP or not. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on this, and I'll report back and tell y'all how it is. So, last up tonight, Moment of Zen. We're recording this a couple days late, but November 3rd was Godzilla Day. And in celebration, we have a Godzilla tabletop RPG. What is your immediate reaction to this?
Rah.
Hit him with a screol.
Fire breath, atomic breath. Bah. So what is it? What is this? Like what's
So
the
it is.
premise?
It is basically. It's like D&D and a card game kind of coming together. So instead of dice, like most tabletop RPGs use, it's going to use 52 card decks. So I think that's a really interesting way to have variance in your tabletop RPG. That's kind of getting away from the traditional, oh, I rolled a 1, I rolled a 20. From what I understand, you're going to be taking up the role of G-Force, which is in the films, it's kind of like a defense force against kaiju like Godzilla. And you will be able to, with some of your friends, and I assumedly a DM, although I don't think all the details are final on this yet. I mean, not even the cover art is final. Apparently, are going to go up and see if you can survive the kaiju. I think this is really interesting. A tabletop RPG, which is something I enjoy, combined with a card game, which is something else I enjoy. And Godzilla to top it all off, which is one of my favorite IPs.
Yeah, be
So,
down to try it if we ever get the time.
yeah, so overall, Kickstarter is going live on March 3rd, 2026. So keep your eye out for this. There's going to be play tests at PAX this November if you're heading out that way. But I just thought this was kind of an interesting thing to wrap up the show on, even if it's not, or even if it's still in early days.
You also didn't mention too Godzilla -1 sequel.
Okay, do you want to talk about the -1 sequel? Because I want to talk about the -1 sequel.
Well, let's talk about the -1 sequel real quick.
I think King Ghidorah is going to be in the film because
You think that
minus
soon?
because -0 is not mathematically possible. But what you can do is have it be a coded reference to Monster Zero, which is one of Ghidorah's old names.
That's a pretty good theory. Pretty good theory. But if something's -0, then there's no change.
Well, I think I was reading a little bit about this over the weekend, and the article I read, the guy who put it together, kind of proposed that -1 was like Japan going negative, right? Like World War II was devastating, Godzilla made it worse. And I think the 0 is like, okay, we're back to 0, we've recovered. But now here comes Monster Zero to take us back down. And maybe Godzilla protects Japan. I'm really interested to see what they do with it.
Man, you can just never catch a break, can they?
No, not in that series. Well, everyone, I think that's it for our show tonight. Nimi, you got any kind words for the people on the way out?
Well, if you can tell from our latest stories, like even the good stuff has bad to it. So it's always interesting to see. We're in that weird period where we're starting to get closer to the holidays. Not a lot of special events happening in these next couple weeks, but it's always a good time to sit back and take time to think about what you need to need to prioritize in your life, and it's always good to reevaluate. Now, let us know what you think. Tell us what we did. Tell us what we can do better. Tell us what you like of the show, and we'll see you guys later.